So I would like to introduce our special guest today. And I want to tell you a funny story before to introduce her. So when I came from the Himalayas in Los Angeles, I was very surprised because in every street I met someone who said to me, "Oh, I am shaman, I am healer." So I saw many people say, "I am shaman, I am healer." But in Michel Pascal, we never talk about that. We keep. So immediately I saw the difference between authentic people, authentic shaman, authentic spiritual person, and fake. The difference between meditation and blablatation. And of course, in America, we have the chance, and especially in Los Angeles, to have exceptional bodhisattva, as we say in Buddhism. People so exceptional spiritually, like Yogananda. Yogananda is a saint of LA. We have also the chance to have Michael Beckwith. Michael is a bodhisattva, as we say in Buddhism, with agape. So one time I was here at Bodhi Tree, I met Michael, and I met a tall woman, so beautiful. And immediately when I saw her, before to talk, I knew she was a master. So it's exceptional today at Bodhi Tree to have the chance to receive a master. What means a master? A master is someone who has exceptional capacities. But the first capacity of the master, and it was a sign for me to recognize her, it's not superpower, it's humility. So Stephanie Ann Lodge, Reverend Stephanie Ann Lodge, is with us this afternoon. She is an exceptional master by humility and by an amazing acknowledge, because we are stressed in our daily life because we are disconnected from the divine energy. We know that when we are stressed, we are far from God. When we are calm, we are close to God. Life is simple. We are too much complicated for nothing. So I have a question to ask to Reverend Stephanie Ann Lodge this afternoon. I would like to introduce her at Bodhi Tree. Thank you. I have one question, and she can have time to develop. Please, take a seat. The question is very simple, but the answer can be long. We are stressed, so in our daily life, because we are not aligned, because we are disconnected with the divine energy, because we are stressed because we think too much for nothing. It's a sort of ego. We think all the time. And we think that more we think, more we are intelligent. But more we think, more the mind is in mental confusion. So the question for Stephanie, it's how can we be calmer? How can we be reconnected by channeling with the divine energy? How can we receive easier, better, deeper the divine energy? A few hours ago, I was in Arizona, so at the summit with the best specialists of physics quantum, for example, or mathematician, genetic, neuroscience. And they explained to me that science now has tools to see in a room like that the vibration, the degree of the vibration. So we know that, for example, at Bodhi Tree, we feel good because the vibration is so high. And they explained to me that on a machine, we can see the waves of the vibration. If they come at Bodhi Tree with the tools, they can prove to us why we feel good. But the problem is when we go in the street after Bodhi Tree, we would like to live at Bodhi Tree. So my question is, how can we be reconnected every day in our daily life with the divine energy?
Thank you. Thank you so much. So honored to be here. So honored to see so many shiny faces radiating their brilliance. This man radiates brilliance and resonance like no other in my heart, so I'm so honored for those beautiful words. Thank you, Michel. Wow. So how can we find peace? You know, it starts in the heart. It always starts in the heart because this is our compass. This is our true north. And what I found in my work is, as a channel, as you said, I call it light streaming. So we're either buffering, that little beach ball is going, or it's streaming through. And what stops it from streaming through is when we don't trust ourselves and when we're disconnected from the inner knowing of our heart. So what I teach in what I call sovereign light alchemy is to step into our sovereignty, to step into that mastery that we have connection always. It's just a matter of whether we recognize that for ourselves. And what I know for everybody in this room and watching is that we are all masters. We are all angels in human form, really, at the end of the day, because we are all angles of consciousness, fractals of light, fractals that are here on purpose, in purpose always, through how we are demonstrating our lives. And that doesn't mean we're perfectionists. That doesn't mean that we aren't going to have our human moments. It just means how quickly can we come back into what I call harmonic alignment, light optimization, or halo, just to be cute a little bit. So when I first started connecting to what I call the angelic light stream, which was the first connection that came through, one of the downloads I received is, what's the angelic light stream? And you have to understand, very similar to Yogi Cameron, who came from media and entertainment and modeling and stuff. I came from the same type of situation. I was working in mainstream, selling private jets and being in the media and entertainment industries for a long time. And I was not expecting a woman one day to say to me, oh, there's these 3 archangels standing with you, and they're in the room, and they need you to know that you're one of their girls. And I said, I don't even know what that means. And it was very interesting, because it was almost as if that started this energetic handshake, an opening. And you have to understand, I was very skeptical for many years, and it took me a long time to really accept that there was anything conscious that was trying to communicate with me in any capacity. And eventually there was enough stalking going on where books were flying off shelves at the original Bodhi Tree. I have both those stories too. And other people were coming up to me and saying they saw light beings around me, angels around me, things coming through me, stepping into my body. I mean, all sorts of really interesting conversations were had. And over time, I finally surrendered and trusted and said, okay, what am I here to do? What do I need to know? And as soon as I opened up to that connection, as soon as I said yes, 4 o'clock, 4 a.m., 3 a.m., connections coming through, information, I didn't even know what this information meant, some of it. And it took time. But what I learned was I was reawakening really in the cellular DNA things that I knew probably for many lineages. If we go into the bloodstream and the light stream that we are, really, our lineage that goes however many lifetimes back, there were my 10,000 hours that I had put in already that brought me to this place in time right now as Stephanie. And so I was able to reconnect and recalibrate to those energies and those understandings, and over time found peace with what this meant, because we have connection. We all have connection. Whether we're here to do anything with it is another story. But I do believe many of us who are on the spiritual path are here as healers or working with energy. But we're also here just in our daily lives to share a smile, to share a hug, to find a way to connect. And there's so much in the world now that is causing disconnection. You know, whether it's being on the cell phone constantly, or on our computers and our technologies. And there's a certain level of static and distortion that comes in from that, you have to understand that you have an energy field that is interfacing with everything all the time. And so when that static and distortion is coming in, it is up to you to do things to resolve and recalibrate back to the peace, to the clarity. So what I want to share with you, and it was interesting that we're working with the sky today, is an idea that came in during the years that I've been doing this now, over 11 years, of the diamond heart, okay? And the diamond heart for me is really this idea that we have that clarity within us always. We have the sanctuary, the temple within us always, right? And when this is clear, we can trust. You know, for many of us who have had backgrounds where maybe you have not had the greatest childhood, you know, the heart can be a minefield. You know, you don't really want to go into the heart often because it can be scary. There's emotions in there, there's memories in there, there's things that might not feel comfortable for you. And so when we don't trust this, it makes it very difficult to connect to the higher consciousness that wants to come through this vessel, this capsule of light. So the first thing for me is to teach people, how do we get comfortable with our diamond heart, that aspect. And so I'd like to share just this visualization for you. It's almost like you're installing a new software into your heart. And for me, I bring everything to technology to some degree because I'm blessed with having a mother who's very heart-centered and came from the Buddhist traditions to some degree, but I also had two fathers, one of which was a scientist. He was an aeronautical engineer. And so I have that science mind. And so I always bring the angels in a format of science and light and bandwidths and frequency. Remember, we are light. We have photons running this. This is photonic energy always running. And it becomes phononic or sound, resonance, when we activate it into vibration of purpose and intention. So the innate wisdom of the heart basically has an option to just stay running the light or to actually resonate. Right? And so when we understand this at the scientific level, when we understand this from a place where we can then set intentions on a daily basis to be in peace, then we can go through our lives and come back and calibrate. But this is the center point we want to come to, right? This is the center point. So what I do when I visualize when I'm connecting to the source aspects, the light frequency that is all bandwidths, is I imagine above my head a diamond, right? I imagine a diamond. Now this diamond is a little specific in shape. The shape of this diamond is two pyramids base to base, one inverted, like the feminine, right? And one upright this direction with the apex, you know, going upward. And that's the masculine. And they're meeting base to base. And they come down into my body and I imagine them coming right into my heart. Now when that lands in my heart, you'll notice where the feminine aspect is, the apex is inverted, but it's going right into my solar plexus. And the masculine is sitting right here at my thymus gland. Now, interesting, when I downloaded this originally, I discovered the thymus in Gray's Anatomy in the medical dictionary, or the medical book, is called the angel gland, which I thought interesting. Because I automatically called it the angelic heart chakra. And this usually resonates an aqua color. Okay, and you can think of it as a bridge between your heart and your throat chakras. So this is green, and oftentimes in many teachings of the chakras, and this is blue, and so this is the aqua between the two, right? And so this represents for me, again, in my teaching, a we are consciousness, the collective consciousness, the collective that is connected here with all of us and all of the aspects that surround us in the invisible spectrums of creation. And down here is the I am that I am consciousness, that solar, that power, right? And so where do they meet? They meet right here in the heart. This plane of meeting in the heart, I call the I know. So I know that I am. I know that I'm Stephanie. I know that I'm here. I know that I'm present. I know that I'm alive. I know that I deserve to be alive. But I know that we are. We are always one. We are always one cohesive mind working together. And when we work together to create peace on this planet, we're each taking accountability and we're each taking a certain moment for ourselves to say, I'm operating at the highest level of source light right now in this moment. I'm coming from a place of peace and understanding for myself that in my daily life, the sooner I can recalibrate back to that center point, the better for everybody. And so we take that accountability, and that's when I say we activate our inner angel. We activate that inner angel because angels, to me, more than the wings and the halos and the mythologies that we're used to and the hierarchies and all these things, it's really to be of service. It's really here to be a messenger of peace and love and mastery for everybody. So everybody can come into their mastery and be empowered. And so for me, that starts with knowing who we are and trusting that we are always connected. There is no disconnection. It's not an option. It's just whether we're aware of it and whether we're empowering it and whether we're intending it, because this is an intentional life that we're living, right? So just in that moment, just take a moment to just close your eyes. And I want you to imagine a beautiful diamond from the sky, just coming from the cosmos, coming down and hovering above your head. And just imagine that this diamond is radiating a beautiful white diamond light. This is all source frequency. This is all divine love, divine peace, divine trust. That unconditional love. And in this moment, I'd like you to imagine this diamond just floating down effortlessly through the top of your head until it aligns down your central chakra channel and rests in your heart. And just feel that light radiating in your heart. And on your next inhalation, inhale more light. Empowering the light to float through all the cells of your body, because in this moment, your heart is beating. And every 2 minutes, all the cells in your body, all your blood cells flow through the heart. So now they are all being empowered with this beautiful diamond light. Inhale the light. And exhale the peace. Inhale the light. And exhale the peace. It's a very simple practice, but now in this moment we know, as the masters of light in this room who are present, both visible and invisible, and as the angelic light stream in this moment is touching into each of your hearts, activating each of these diamonds within your hearts, fully upgrading all who are here, present in this room, all who are streaming live with us. We are here, and we are open, and we are trusting to love and peace in our hearts always. And we are connected to our source always. This is what we know. Thank you. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So again, very simple practice, very powerful practice, because it's acknowledging the truth of who you are. This really is your soul spark. This diamond represents the brilliance and the radiance that you are. I say that we're moving from a gold standard to the diamond standard, where authenticity is required, where we are required to shine and not dim our light for anything or anybody anymore. It is time. And so what I say is I awaken angels. And I join this beautiful master of resonance to let everybody know it's safe to come out of your spiritual closets now. We need you here, it's time, right? We see enough that is being revealed to be healed in this world, and we need everybody who is a healer. And when I say a healer, I really mean a light stream. I really mean someone who's going to come in and bring that light into this present moment. And every moment counts, and every moment that you are walking this planet matters, because you are in matter. As long as you are here, you are in matter, you matter. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Love you.
Thank you. Stephanie will come back in a few minutes for a second question. And so in Buddhism, we use the powa. Powa in Tibetan means transfusion of consciousness. So when we sing or when we guide a meditation, we give to the prisoner an energy, a transfusion of consciousness. So this transfusion, it's love. We give love to someone. So the best meditation is to give love. So I say that to you to introduce the second question to Stephanie. The question will be very difficult, but she's a master. The question is, in our daily life, when we are stressed, we are far from love. So how can we reactive the seed of love that we have, every one of us? How can we be more in love? Many times when people ask to me what is the best meditation, I say the best meditation to stop the brain from running all time, simple. We go in the street and we give something to someone in difficulty. When the brain is running all time, meditation, it's not take a deep breath, because it's too much difficult. So the best meditation, we see an homeless, for example, someone in difficulty, and we give $1. We give something from all our heart to someone in difficulty. And when we do that, we reactive love, the energy of love. We give love. So when we give love, we are no stress, like that. When we give love, like my friend neuroscientist explained, we change our cognitive process. You know, in the brain, we have cognitive process. Before, the neuroscientists, they thought that, for example, happiness was a special region of the brain. But they realize, since 10 years, that happiness, it's a cognitive process between different parts of the brain. It's interaction between different parts of our brain. And when we give love, we create new cognitive process. When we give love, we change the matter gray and white in the brain. When we give love, when we have a good intention for someone, we have the capacity to create new neurons. We know during many years, we think that after 21 years, we have no new neuron. But neuroscientists have discovered it's not true. They discover that when we practice meditation, when we give love, when we have an altruism attitude, we have the capacity to create new neurons. And according to the neuroscientists, they say to me that probably Dalai Lama creates new neuron every minute. It is the reason why at 80 years, he has an energy that no one can follow. So it's my question, very precise, to Stephanie, to see how can we reactive our love inside us.
This brings me to something really exciting, actually. Hugging. Hugging's a very simple thing, and a lot of people aren't comfortable with it, believe it or not. I founded something called the Hug Mob almost it was National Hugging Day this year, so several months ago. And the reason I did it was, there was a women's march happening here in Los Angeles, thousands upon thousands of people descending on the center of our city, the City of Angels. And what I got very directly from my higher selves, as I call them now really, was the need to bring love into our heart when we are activating anything, when we are in action on any level, when we are going out to be activists, right? And so the hug, the idea of the hug, and I know a couple hug mobbers are in the room, we went out and we had our signs and it said the hug mob, and we walked around and we gave people hugs, and sometimes they were reluctant, but then eventually they said, okay, bring it in. And then some people ran up to us and were hugging us, and we were few. We weren't really, I couldn't even say we were actually a mob, you know, because it was just the birth of this little seed, this little kernel. But what I know is that when we have this, right, that diamond heart activated, there's an activation, there's a circuit that's completed between two people. And then imagine as you hug more and more people, you're creating a network from person to person. I call it a hug stream. You know, when we go around and we hug everybody. And this network, it's like a fabric that weaves through our resonance and through our radiance. A brilliant blanket feeling. And the blanket feeling is an interesting one, and I'm going to get to this because in the video that was playing here during the beautiful song, thank you, Michel, for that, I believe it's Mont Saint-Michel, right? Was in there? Yes, Michel, the Mont Saint-Michel, and there's some Michael frequencies going. So Michael, okay, we're going to talk about this, and I'll come back to the hug in a second. Michael, mi is an ancient term for a vessel. I used to call me for a vessel for milk, actually. So I think of it as the elixir of light that is held in this vessel. Ka, our spiritual body, ancient term for our spiritual body. And El, of God, of divinity. So Mikael is what I call a bandwidth, or the call sign, if you want to think of it like a radio station you're tuning up to, or a code for our own sense of safety, protection, love that is so powerful, it can transmute and transform anything. So there's no accident that when people are talking about angels, because we're going to come back to angels here for a minute, a lot of the time they start with Archangel Michael. You know, they're familiar with Archangel Michael. That's kind of their go-to. And when I started light streaming and moving through that understanding and connecting to these bandwidths, these frequencies, I think of them really as 12 spectrums, 12, the rainbow spectrum, right, of the 7 main colors, but then I have the 5 sovereigns, which are silver, gold, platinum, titanium, and the diamond kind of encompasses all of them, but the diamond has its own frequency of intention. So everything becomes intention of light as I direct it, whether I'm directing it into someone's body as a Reiki practitioner as an example, but I've kind of up-leveled the Reiki for myself at least, or whether I'm working right now in this room as I'm sitting here and running and allowing these frequencies to run through my body and amplifying the energies that are existing here. So all of you right now are in that presence of light so that you can in turn pass that on, right? So we're always working with these frequencies of intention, and they're really like codes. So Mikael is representing that divine love that you're speaking of. How do we get into the love? Very easily. Closing our eyes and just saying Mikael, Mikael, Mikael very clearly to ourselves internally. You can meditate with it like a mantra as well. But just the 3 statements of Mikael, you're activating that template. Okay, think of it like a template in your temple. If you do 12, you're igniting and amplifying it. So again, these are all practices that I teach, and these are all practices really for us to get centered in the mind, to get centered in the heart, to be in a living practice in our daily lives and have something to play with, because it's supposed to be playful. For me, spirituality is really being in that joy as much as possible, letting our inner child to be in joy and play. You know, I had a radio show for a while called Angels in the Buff, and people were like, what is it, like Victoria's Secret? I said, no. It's just stripping the wings and the halos and getting to the science of spirit, you know, letting go of the religious aspect of angels and really getting to what I call the science of them, the bandwidths, the frequencies, the light, because that's how I was receiving it. So for me, it wasn't about going back to the past. It was how do we evolve consciousness always, you know, bring the consciousness forward into the present moment and bring it here to a modern age where we are surrounded by technology and we have a different landscape to work with. So that's my purpose of why I came, right? So coming back to the hug, okay, Mikael is a really good code to get yourself empowered with that feeling of unconditional love that's safe to give and receive. And then you go hug people. And it gets you into that love, right? It gets you into that place where you are being of service. It doesn't cost you anything. And you might hug people that you're like, I don't know if I really want to hug this person. And that's where I say hug them first. That's the person you want to really hug because they definitely need it, right? And it may feel awkward for some. You know, there's those people who I know who you are. You stay at home and you're kind of isolated, and that's okay. But the energetically sensitive, let me say this, because for you who I'm speaking to who are energetically sensitive, the only way for you to really step into your power and why you're here and why you came is to understand that you are safe, that there's nothing that's coming at you that you can't handle. And I know that many feel very deeply, many feel they walk around and I can't be in that room, there's too much toxic energy, and they come up with all these reasons of why they want to feel separated. But now more than ever, we need to be connected. We are so disconnected on so many different levels, even though we have our Facebooks and our Twitters and our Instagrams and all these ways to connect and reach out on some level. It's an artificial intelligence. It's not the angelic intelligence that we are really designed at. We are designed here to love each other fully. And if we're not stepping into that on a daily basis, there's a part of us that's almost like it's draining out. So you have to recharge. So I say, Michael is a way to recharge. You can mantra with that. There's many others. I kind of teach it as, if you're a harp, if you're an instrument, there's different strings to that instrument. You tune each one. So Michael is only a single string. There's many strings. But it's one where when you start to work with these strings, you work with these energies. Then when you play your instrument like a harp, right, it's in more harmonic alignment. So we talked about that earlier, the halo effect, I like to call it. And that resonance that you give off, people will want to be around you. What it creates is a magnetic field that comes in and draws to you exactly what you need. So it's not about going out and finding and trying to grab it and get it. It's just allowing, it's surrendering and allowing it to flow to you because love is magnetic. The idea of angels comes in to give you that warm and fuzzy feeling of love, yes. And sometimes people feel silly about it, but I say there's a power there that when you understand, you are simply activating that template within yourself to be of service, to be strong in your light and why you're here. It's not that silly. It's actually really powerful. Right? And I think that much of what I know and much of what I've received in stream, and when I teach people really how to connect to that source stream, you know, that we all are connected to, it hasn't been read in books. I mean, yes, I've gone to validate some things I've gotten before, and I've had different teachers who validated things because I'm human, and I want to know, like, what does this mean? And so I've done that. But I really am trusting because I didn't come in with the skill set. I don't have the vision. Like a lot of people will be a clairvoyant, especially if they're a channel. Interestingly for me, I don't have clairvoyance. I have claircognizance, which is a knowing. And when I asked my hires, why don't I have the vision? Why don't I have my third eye full open and able to do all sorts of amazing things? They said, because you are anchoring the frequency of faith. You are anchoring this frequency of knowing deeper than having to always be seeing and validated. And I went, okay, I got it. Because there's too many people out there who don't know that frequency, and so I'm here to anchor that light, anchor that frequency, in order for it to be passed on to those who might not be at that level to have those visions, right? And those people do have those gifts are amazing, and I have lots of friends who do, and they give me all sorts of really wonderful feedback. But what I know for all of us is that the love that is in this room right now has elevated. And the reason it's elevated is because there is an intention here to elevate it. So everything that I've done in my life as spiritual anything, really, has been through intention. You know, I didn't have a near-death experience to start channeling and receiving. I didn't have anything happen to me that was really profoundly shocking to the system. It was more, I want to really connect. And so what I say is, if I can do it, you can do it. And what I'm here to say is everybody is capable of this. And it's either we're getting on the bus as the bus is turning into a speed train. Or we're looking at the bus going, I don't know if I want to get on the bus, or we don't even know there's a bus. There's most of the planet right now is still saying, there's what bus? What are you talking about? And all I'm saying with the bus metaphor is things are moving. This is why we're seeing so much in the environment moving quickly now. It's speeding up. So I'm just inviting all of you to know that the love that you are is in there. Tap into it, tune into it, connect to it. Find that diamond in the sky and bring it into your heart on a daily basis if you can, to just blueprint that in, to clear out whatever junk or stuff you took on from the day before, the night before, whenever you want to do it. Michel is a great mantra to bring in, to just feel that blanket of energy, that peaceful love come in, that safety, the protection that personification of an angel represents. But it's really a frequency. It's really a light stream. I call it light streaming. That light stream is what I call the sapphire light. The sapphire light that's empowered with this beautiful blue radiance. And you can sometimes see it in your mind's eye when you close your eyes. That's when you know that you're in alignment with that feeling of love. So thank you. Very long-winded answer, but that's how I stream.
It was really beautiful. Really beautiful and so deep. I would